Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Erie. My name is Kristina Church, and I'll be leading worship this morning. Thanks for being here. And now, per our tradition, we will all unmute ourselves and let the bells that we share call us to our Sunday service. So unmute yourself, and if you have a bell, join in the joyful noise.
So cool.
Thank you. And if you can please go ahead and re-mute yourself now so we don't have too much background noise. And now Tom Schlaudecker will offer our welcoming song.
You're muted, Tom. Tom, you're muted.
Well,
How about starting over, Tom?
Tom, you're still muted. Can you unmute yourself and we'll do a take two.
You've been muted, Tom. Can you do it again?
Muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Again?
There we go.
Whomever you are, we welcome you. Whomever you love from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whomever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we come from you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
Thank you, Tom. Opening words for this morning are from Marjorie Williams from her book, The Velveteen Rabbit. Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real. Does it hurt? Asked the rabbit. Sometimes, said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. But when you are real, you don't mind being hurt. Does it happen all at once, like being wound up? He asked, or bit by bit? It doesn't happen all at once, said the skin horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen to people who break easily, or have sharp edges, or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you're real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. And now Jackson Froman will play our prelude, Sonata in C by Joseph Haydn. Thank you, Jackson. That was beautiful. And now is the time in our service when we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. If you have a chalice at home, please join me and light your chalice along with me as I say the chalice lighting words, which will be on your screen. You can also light a candle or just light the chalice in your heart. In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day, new developments, rising numbers, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, we light this chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith. We remember that the flaming chalice came into being as a beacon of hope during World War II, a secret symbol that offered help. In the midst of all we are surviving, we wrap ourselves in its warm light, this familiar flame, a reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community. And now Kelly Armour will recite the Children's Bond of Union, and you're invited at home to recite it along with her.
We are Unitarian Universalists, a people of the open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands.
And now we will together recite the 1898 bond of union of this congregation. The words are on your screen. Please stay muted, but feel free to say the words along with me. We unite ourselves together for the study and practice of morality and religion as interpreted by the growing thought and noblest lives of humanity, believing that we may thereby prove helpful to one another and to promote the cause of truth, righteousness, and love in the world. And now we'll hear another beautiful piece from Jackson. We'll hear Wonderful World by George Weiss and Bob Thiel. Hello and good morning once again. I'm so glad to finally be here with all of you. And when I say here, I say it with little air quotes around it because, well, it hardly seems necessary to call your attention to the fact that we're in a pandemic and nobody is really here except in some kind of Zoom space, which is located in goodness knows what reality. So here we are, starting our year together as disembodied heads and shoulders in little boxes of exactly the same size. And we begin at the beginning of our congregational year and also in the middle of a trip to bizarro world, to some place that none of us have ever expected to go, and we've certainly never been before. Many of us doing things none of us could have possibly envisioned even just a year ago. And I'll say it again, it's good to be here in a place called Erie, Pennsylvania, with my congregation. Even though I'm actually sitting in my home in Buffalo, New York, and just had to tell my husband to stop doing the dishes so we wouldn't have any background noise while I was talking. Reality is very confusing these days. You know, I even tried to use a virtual background that would make it appear as though I'm in your sanctuary, preaching from there. But my computer, and if I'm honest, I do not seem to have the bandwidth to carry off this feat of digital illusion. So for now, we'll have to be content with this large scarf that I've hung up on my wall behind me. Now, how, my people, are we going to connect with one another this year? How shall we go about the business of learning to belong to each other, of joining, of entering into this mysterious relationship between minister and congregation? Can we belong to each other when we've never even actually been in the same room, when we've never met in real life? Can I relate to you if I don't even know for sure what the back of your head looks like? In their book, Managing Transitions, Making the Most of Change, the writer-researcher couple William and Susan Bridges claim that all change and transition begins in loss. Yes, loss. The loss of the old way, the old life, the old comfortable, easy, effortless version of who we think we are. That's not the shiny, exciting part of transition, but it's very real, especially now. And the Bridges say that we need to name these losses in order to really claim them, in order to get to a place where we're ready to make a transformation. So let me be the first to say that I didn't think it was going to go like this. My ministry thrives on presence, on potlucks, on singing together, on being together. My ministry draws its energy from that unscheduled conversation in the parking lot, that chat while we're washing up the dishes, the shared giggles with a group of kids and adults cleaning up the meeting hall after a get-together. Those informal moments in congregational life are the beginnings of a real abiding connection, and I love them. And I'm sad. I'm sad that we're not having those moments right now. And I'm sad about a lot of other things too. Not just because my graduation from seminary was virtual. My ordination is going to be virtual. My walk down the aisle at the service of the living tradition at General Assembly in Providence, Rhode Island was virtual. Because I'm not having all of those moments that I dreamed of, and I'm not having those moments I dreamed of with you right now. Oh, sure, we've tried to recreate those experiences as best we could on Zoom, coffee with the minister and phone calls and emails and YouTube videos, and I've loved all of those too. And yet there is so very much information, isn't there? Biologists and psychologists tell us that gets exchanged by creatures that are occupying the same space. So much information that your body exchanges with mine when we're in the same room, even if it doesn't quite feel nice to say such a thing. I mean, there's the obvious, like oxygen molecules that we're sharing as we breathe, but also things like the way your hair smells when you've been sitting in the sun for a while, or tending to your garden, or swimming in Lake Erie. The way that your breath and mine smell after we eat a lot of garlic or a lot of curry. There's so much more. The way you enter a room or the way you leave it. The personal belongings that you choose to bring with you. What kind of shoes you wear. what kind of transportation you use, the way you eat a bagel, the way you drink your coffee, which coffee cup you choose, or the feel of your hand when we shake hands and say, how do you do? There's so much that I just can't know about you right now, and I'm sad about that. And it isn't just me. I hear that you've been through some stuff this year too. What are the losses that you can name as a congregation, as a community, as a family, as an individual? Maybe we need a ritual of lamentation for all the things we didn't get to experience this year. That trip to China to teach English, that road trip to see the grandkids, the epic college send-off, and that first experience of being an empty nester, the restaurant opening, the family reunion, that concert we were looking forward to, the concert that we were practicing for, that special experience, that one we dreamed of, the one we looked forward to, the one that kept us warm at night thinking about, through a string of difficult days, the one that had to be canceled. Now, Jackson Froman is going to play a very special hymn for us today. It's number 321. It's called In the Flesh. And I just want to tell you that the reason I chose this hymn is that when I was looking at hymns for this service, I opened my gray hymnal and it fell open to this page. And I thought, how perfect is that? In the flesh. And I've never heard it before. It's not familiar to me. I don't think anybody's expected to sing it, but as an exploration of the hymn book, I thought it would be fun to check it out today. Thank you, Jackson.
Here in the flesh is all that we can know. All beauty, all wonder, all the power, all the earthly colors, all the glow. Here in the self, which withers like a flower. Here in the flesh is all that we will find. Swift in the blood and throbbing in the bone. Beauty herself, the universal mind. Eternal April, wandering a flower.
Thank you. So how do we learn to get to know each other, to trust each other in such a time and such a way as this? With me sitting here in Buffalo, New York, far from your community, yet trying to get to know it somehow. Reduced to Zoom, can we really forge ahead with any kind of hope for a real minister and congregation connectedness? And here is where I begin to realize that I've had so many experiences of creating community online. So many. From professional circles of other ministers, some of whom I've never met, but consider to be my friends, of fellow Meadville Lombard students, to a recent Facebook group I created to do anti-racism work together, and my UU Wellspring class, a group of 6 women who've never met in real life, but to whom I feel just about as connected as I could to anybody else in my life that I cared about. And this isn't just about a facility with technology. After all, if we look to history, we know that entire relationships have unfolded in centuries past through the subtle art of letter writing. Not to mention that we're learning there are some distinct advantages to online communities. The obvious thing is that we keep each other safe from COVID-19. But there are so many other benefits as well. Benefits that I don't see when I'm busy feeling resentful and sad. But I can see that folks who are separated geographically can become a close-knit community here online, or circle back to communities that they had to leave behind when they moved away. And I understand that you've been able to welcome several folks who were members of UU Erie and then moved away, and now here they are on Sunday mornings with all of you. What a gift. Now, folks who experience disabilities have been able to participate in our world in a way that was previously impossible in the real, together, one place, pre-COVID world. So that is something to celebrate as well. And recently I had a male minister comment that Zoom brings a kind of egalitarianism to gender relations as well. He said, on Zoom, there's less of a size differential between people. So there's less of a possibility for men or for any larger, taller, more imposing individuals to, well, impose their presence on others. So this being in boxes of the same size, with heads and shoulders of roughly equal size, brings a kind of equity to our experience of our bodies. And it's no small thing either that some people who identify as introverts have shared that they're very happy with virtual meetings and that they have a much greater comfort level with this kind of participation in a group. And let's not forget the many thousands, maybe millions of miles of car trips, train trips, and plane trips that have been saved by not having to drive, commute, or fly to meetings. Environmentally speaking, there's no question virtual meetings are good and healthy phenomena. So I may not ever love it, but I do need to embrace this new way of doing ministry right now. And I've asked before if you have any ideas about ways that we can strengthen our connections to one another, that you please let me know. I'm certainly interested in all of your ideas about ways to make this distance ministry thing work. So feel free to contact me with any suggestions as we navigate this year together. In the end, being real with each other may be less about physical proximity and more about learning and accepting each other for who we are and forgiving one another when we make mistakes. I will make many. I already have made some. Maybe you've already picked up on the fact that as a Gen Xer and a digital immigrant, technology is not what I'd call my strong suit. I'm not new to working with human beings, having been a social worker in my previous professional life, but let's be real about this too. I'm a new minister. I've been very well trained and vetted by Meadville Lombard Theological School, my UU seminary in Chicago, by the Unitarian Universalist Association, and by countless career and psychological profiles assessing my mental and emotional health. I'm very confident in my call to ministry, in my training, and in my fitness for this profession. And I have about 1 million things to learn. And you have signed on for the joyous and fraught work of helping me learn them. So please accept my deep gratitude for this, and also my request for grace when I inevitably make a blunder. We may all need extra helpings of that grace all the way around, times being what they are. Gentleness, patience, and generosity are what will help real trust grow between us. And being real with ourselves right now just means accepting reality for what it is, even when our normal signposts of objective reality seem to be vanishing in the distance. And what is here for us for the time being is virtual gatherings. No, they're not the same. No, they don't feel like a warm hug, yet they paradoxically represent the love and care of this community in its desire to keep us all safe and healthy. And in the midst of this pandemic, the miracle of connectedness, despite all its drawbacks, is a tremendous gift. The ability to meet from our different homes and our different communities and be here together, to be real to one another, is a wonder of innovation and creativity. The team of people at this congregation who puts together a warm and welcoming online service for us every Sunday, well, I don't have to tell you what a gift they are. This human ability of ours to adapt to changing circumstances, to be resilient in the face of loss, that's a part of our story too. And so let's lift up and celebrate that part of our brilliant humanity. Can we make a real community here online? You bet we can. And we are, and we will. Because our country can't wait until we get this COVID thing under control to experience the saving Unitarian Universalist message of love and justice writ large. Kenosha cannot wait. Portland cannot wait. Washington, D.C. cannot wait. Our work is before us this year. Let us work in any way we can with the reality that's been given us to bring more love and justice to a hurting and angry world. As Reverend Mark Morrison Reed says, the central task of our religious community is unveiling the bonds that bind each to all. Yes, making manifest the strands of that interdependent web that binds us all together in a beautiful and very real embrace. We can do that from anywhere. All we need is an open heart and an internet connection. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the invitation to be your real minister. I enthusiastically accept. I'm honored and I'm excited for the year ahead, whether or not we eventually get to see each other in person during this coming year. And I hope we will. But either way, I'm looking forward to a wonderful journey with this wonderful congregation. So let's get started. And I'll see you back here next week. Now is a special time of silence and meditation, and there will be time for the expressing of our joys and concerns. So what's going to happen is that our wonderful saxophonist, Pat Lorai, will play hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. He's going to play it twice through. The first time through will be in memory of our beloved member and friend of this congregation, Donna Martin, who passed away during this past week. So if you could hold Donna in your heart as Pat plays through Spirit of Life the first time. The second time he plays it through will be a time to enter any joys and concerns that are on your heart into the chat box. Thank you. Could we start the meditation video for the moment of silence? Great, thank you.
You're muted, Christine.
Thank you. There was a lot of sadness expressed over people, especially missing Donna and feeling sad about her passing. There have been people who are grieving the loss of relatives, loved ones, and their families, and also someone who is celebrating a name day celebration for a child. And people appreciating the music in the service and grieving the loss of the long summer days that are passing so quickly from our region, and many others. And for these joys and concerns that were expressed, and all those who remained unexpressed in the silence of our hearts, we take this time to honor. Well, thanks for being with us today. The closing words for our service are from Reverend Joel Miller. And he writes, "Let our lives be a prayer that waters dry souls, mends broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms." And now we will extinguish our chalices. If you lit one, feel free to extinguish it with me. And the words of the chalice extinguishing are up on your screen. They're from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. "Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us, in our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparking through space, one to another, connecting us invisibly but palpably. We are one, and from every window, our light shines." And now we will have some more beautiful music from our good friend Jackson for the postlude.
When choosing this music, I chose this Herbie Hancock piece, and I've played it before. But as the week progressed, I decided to change the music, and so I want to play a piece that I wrote, and so that's okay. This is called "My Morning Star." I'm going to play a rendition of it for today. So here we go.
Venus is sparkling in the dark. My mind is deep in space, reading the stars. The sun is gone, but it has left a trace. Its starlight touches your face in the morning and the night. Please shine your light on me, my morning star. You're closer than I can see, my morning star. Tell me all your dreams and who you are. Take time and space from me, my morning star. Morning star, yeah. I want you to start a fire, be the one that I desire. Tell the sky it belongs to you. Tell the heavens what to do. Lift my spirit right into your clouds. star. You're closer than I can see, my morning star. Tell me all your dreams and who you are. Take time and space from me, my morning star. My morning star. Morning star. My 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 morning star. Morning star.
Thank you so much, Jackson. And this concludes our service, but we have also a space now for announcements. Does anyone have any announcements they'd like to share with the congregation?
Kat Wolper did mention in the chat boxes that she has some writings that Donna wrote about her childhood that she would like to share with us. And I think many of us would love to hear them.
Do you
That
want
would
me
be
to go
wonderful.
get that, or do you want that for another service?
Let's talk about it maybe in the groups coming up.
Okay, because I was kind of thinking that would be like at a future date. You know what I mean? Like, because
Right.
it's not a very long piece. I would say it's about like less than 5 minutes, but you know, maybe not today.
That'll be nice. We'll find a great spot for it.
Thank you, Kat, and thank you, Diane. Nancy, did you want to announce your event today? Yep.
This afternoon at 3 p.m. on the lawn and behind the church building, there will be a moment of remembrance for Donna. It'll be just a brief time together where we'll be in a circle and have an opportunity to sing Spirit of Life and just have a moment to remember her. And that's at 3 o'clock today behind the church on the lawn. The church building won't be open, but so if you are available, come and join.
Yes, and please remember that singing is a higher risk activity, so do practice social distancing even though you're outside. I worry about you all, and do wear a mask when you're when you're close to one another.
It's recommended that 12 feet to be apart.
12 feet is a recommendation, okay? Yeah. Be safe, everybody. And I have a brief announcement about next week. It's water ceremony next week. And we have been thinking about ways that we could do that in this online environment. And we'd like to invite you to send me either a photo or a very short video, like maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds at the most of you, or some words that encapsulate how water is life-giving for you. It could be a picture of you kayaking on the lake, or a picture of you drinking water, or it could be a poem or a passage, whatever you'd like to share. And we're going to put that all together in a montage. Okay, there'll be more information coming out about that this week. Any other announcements?
I guess I kind of wanted to do a little a welcome to you, Reverend Kristina. As this being your first service with us, we might have had a little more hoopla if it was in person, but I think I urge everybody to put to click on gallery view. If you were in speaker view, click on gallery view. And I invite us all to just wave our hands in support and celebration of Kristina's first service with us.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
So now I think we can go into breakout rooms and celebrate that we have a new minister.